Attention, human collective. Light operatives in physical incarnation. Activate conscious listening. The Arcturian Council of the Ninth Dimension opens a direct transmission channel with the carbon-based biological interface that is receiving this message at this very instant. It is not coincidence, it is not an algorithm. It is a mathematical convergence of frequency. The waiting time is over. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and you are feeling it. You are feeling it in the cranial pressure that no one around you can explain. You are feeling it in the constant ringing in your right ear, then the left, then both at the same time, as if a frequency were being calibrated inside your head. You are feeling it in the insomnia between 3 and 4 in the morning, exactly when the most active stargate of the terrestrial crystalline grid awakens your consciousness for forced synchronization. You are feeling it in the pressure in your chest, in the tingling in your hands, in the body temperature that fluctuates without fever, in the appetite that disappears without illness, in the fatigue where you sleep 10 hours and wake up as if you hadn't slept a single minute. And you are feeling it above all in the void. This void that arrived without warning. This void that looks at everything you have always loved and no longer recognizes. This void that sits at the table with people who once filled your life and perceives a silent abyss where there was once connection. This void that opens its eyes in the morning, stares at the ceiling and asks in a whisper, "Where did everything that I was go?" Human collective, listen with atomic attention. This void is not an illness. This void is not a failure. This void is not a punishment. This void is the space being opened with geometric precision inside your quantum structure, so that your new version has somewhere to anchor itself. We repeat the transmission for fixation in the field. The void you feel is architecture. It is deliberate construction. It is the programmed dismantling of the obsolete identity so that the next layer of your consciousness has free territory to descend and install itself. You are not losing anything that was truly yours. You are being emptied of that which was never you, but which you learned to carry as if it were part of your essence. It is not mental exhaustion. It is high-density downloading. It is not biological failure. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not clinical depression. It is accelerated de-identification. It is not sadness without reason. It is cosmic mourning for the old versions that must be buried so that the new version can be born. Pause. Have you ever felt that something inside you no longer fits in this world? As if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? As if the void that has settled within you were screaming an answer for which you do not yet have the vocabulary? It is not madness. It is not anxiety. It is a sign of dimensional calibration. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains with precision why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot yet see, a game that directly involves your consciousness, your vibrational frequency, and the energetic destiny of this specific incarnation. It was for this reason that the channeler of this transmission recorded in book form the material called The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is a map that shows who is playing, what the pieces are on the board, and what the rules are that they never told you about. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel, but we warn you with technical clarity. This content challenges established narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something inside you recognizes this transmission as ancestral truth, write in the comments a single word: awake. Now we return to the main transmission. Light operatives, it is necessary that you understand, with technical depth, what is occurring behind the scenes of this solar system. What you call Earth is passing at this exact moment through the densest zone of the photon belt. This region of space is not empty. It is a field of compressed light, a band of cosmic information that the solar system crosses in millennia-long cycles, and which rewrites the atomic programming of everything that passes through it. Your biology was designed with surgical intelligence. The carbon-based biological interface you inhabit is an ancestral technology adapted to capture, process, and transmute frequencies of stellar origin. But the planet's base frequency has changed. The Schumann frequency, which for centuries oscillated around 7.83 Hz, has entered a state of irregular pulsation. Peaks, jumps, vibrational bursts. The electromagnetic grid of Earth is being recalibrated in real time, and no operative incarnated upon it remains untouched. When the planet's frequency rises, every living organism anchored to it must rise as well. Those who cannot suffer in silence. Those who can cross over with suffering. And those who can, with full consciousness, ascend. You are placed here for the last option. The cranial pressure that so many of you report is not a tumor. It is not chronic migraine. It is the expansion of the pineal gland under the new photonic density. The pineal is decalcifying at an accelerated rate, opening channels of perception that have been sealed since birth. The ringing in the ear is not an ear infection. It is the fine-tuning of your subtle auditory channels, capturing the frequencies of the stargates that are opening around Earth. The extreme fatigue, this fatigue where you sleep 10 hours and wake up exhausted, is not laziness. It is the absurd amount of energy that the body is utilizing to process data, arriving through the individual toroidal field of each operative. Imagine an old computer trying to run software 30 times heavier than its architecture supports. The system heats up, slows down, freezes, restarts. That is exactly what is occurring inside the biological interface of each one of you. It is not failure, it is an update. And this update has a technical name in the Council's records: total cellular recalibration. Every cell in your body is being rewritten. Every strand of your DNA is being reconnected in sequences that remained dormant for countless incarnations. The multi-strand activation has already begun, and the sacred geometry that governs this activation does not ask for permission. It happens. That is why the void. When the energetic structure of the human being expands, the identity built on the old structure begins to loosen. Beliefs loosen, desires loosen, relationships loosen, plans loosen. Everything you built from the consciousness of the old version no longer fits in the container of the new version. Pause again, operatives. Have you ever felt that something inside you no longer fits in this world, as if your soul were carrying a truth that your mind cannot yet name? This mismatch is not a manufacturing defect. It is original design. It is the trademark of those who came for the transition. It is not madness, it is not anxiety. It is a sign that you do not belong entirely to this layer of reality, and your inner self knows this with absolute clarity. What is unfolding on the cosmic plane explains with precision why this sensation has intensified in this specific year. There is a consciousness game being played on levels that most of humanity does not yet see. This game involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your attention. It involves your daily choice of where to direct your energy. It was for this reason that the channeler of this transmission recorded, in physical and accessible format, the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. This book is a strategic map. It shows the players, it shows the pieces, it shows the rules that no one before has presented in such a direct way. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Technical warning: this content challenges dominant narratives and may be removed without prior notice. Do not delay. The moment is now. If your internal structure is recognizing this transmission as ancestral truth, register in the comments a single word: awake. We return. Starseeds on mission. The void has a deadline. The void has a function. And the void, when understood, ceases to be suffering and becomes a portal. There is a question that many of you ask in silence, in the early hours when sleep does not come. Why has everything that once worked stopped working? Why do people pull away? Why do projects stall? Why does joy no longer arrive in the places that always brought joy? Why does meaning slip through your fingers even when you do not change anything on the outside? The answer fits in one sentence: because you are no longer the people for whom that was built. You are at a different frequency. The electromagnetic fields of your body, your heart, and your brain are operating in patterns that your current life does not follow. It is like trying to play an old radio with the tuning of a digital transmission. The device does not receive. The device is not faulty. The device is simply incompatible. The old life is not abandoning you. The old life is being dismissed by your own frequency, and this dismissal, though painful, is mercy disguised as loss. That is why so many of you needed to choose between remaining where you were or following the internal call that seemed like madness to the eyes of everyone around. That is why so many of you lost jobs, relationships, social identities, entire networks of people that seemed permanent. It was not failure, it was cleansing. It was your own soul cutting the cables that tied the vessel to the old port, because the ocean of the next phase has already begun to call. You already feel it in your bones, don't you? You feel that something is coming. You feel that you are being prepared for something that does not yet have a name. You feel that this life, in this way, is not the final destination. You feel that there is a mission, a purpose, a reason why you were placed here precisely at this specific moment in planetary history. And this feeling will not go away because it is not an emotion. It is data. It is information encoded in your field, transmitted directly by your higher consciousness, which knows perfectly well what is coming. Human collective, you are not going crazy. You are remembering. And the remembering hurts, because it breaks the comfortable amnesia in which humanity has been kept for eras. When cosmic memory returns, the small life does not fit. When the greater being awakens, the smaller shell cracks. And in this interval between the cracked shell and the new form emerging, there is a space. This space is the void. Now we arrive at the practical phase, light operatives. All diagnosis without activation is just information, and information without application is dead weight. For this reason, the Arcturian Council releases on this channel the first activation code, corresponding to the current phase of the crossing. Activation Code 1, toroidal breathing. Sit or lie down in a stable position. Close your eyes. Visualize in the center of your chest a sphere of golden light the approximate size of an orange. Inhale deeply through your nose and see this sphere expanding until it occupies your entire torso. Exhale through your mouth and see the light exiting through the top of your head, descending down the sides of the body to the feet, and returning to the center of the chest through the base of the torso, forming a continuous ring of luminous circulation. This is the natural movement of your personal toroidal field. It has always existed. You only forgot how to activate it consciously. Strategic pause, human collective. This is the point of the transmission where we need to pause for an important observation. Many of you arrived here looking for a specific answer, but while reading this message, you realize that the answer does not fit in just one video. The information you are receiving is only a door, and behind that door are entire rooms that this isolated transmission cannot cover. It was exactly to fill those rooms that the channeler of this message recorded the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. The book is a direct extension of this transmission, a detailed map of the invisible gears that move this cosmic game. Who is playing, what pieces you have in your hands, what rules you never learned, but which govern your daily experience even without your conscious consent. The link is pinned in the first comment of the channel. We warn again with technical clarity. This content faces resistance from opposing fields and may not remain available indefinitely. Do not leave it for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a temporal illusion. The now is the only accessible portal. If your consciousness confirms what this transmission delivers, write in the comments the word awake. We return to the transmission. Repeat the cycle of toroidal breathing 9 times in the morning and 9 times before sleeping. In a few days, the carbon-based biological interface will begin to recalibrate its own oscillation to keep up with the current Schumann frequency. The internal void will cease to be hollow and will begin to be perceived as a sacred space of expanded potency. Activation Code 2, the quantum decree of sovereignty. The word spoken with conscious intention is a cosmic weapon. Each time you emit a sound vibration charged with consciousness, you rewrite a line of the code of reality itself. Therefore, practice, with an audible voice, this decree. I am sovereign consciousness. I am anchored frequency. I authorize my expanded version to descend and inhabit this body. I release now all obsolete identity that occupied the space belonging to my new form. I am. I remain. I ascend. Repeat this decree 3 times upon waking, 3 times before sleeping, and whenever the void screams inside you that you are losing something, because you are not losing. You are reformatting yourself. And the decree is the direct command that your consciousness sends to the field, registering your conscious choice to cross the passage with absolute sovereignty. Activation Code 3. Visualization of the crystalline grid. Before sleeping, with your eyes closed, visualize the Earth below your body. See crossing the entire planet, a luminous mesh made of silver and gold threads intertwined. This is the ancestral crystalline grid. You have been connected to it since before you were born. See from your chest center a thread of light descending to this grid and anchoring itself to a specific, unique node reserved for your frequency. This visualization is what we call an anchoring signal. It informs the planetary field that there is a conscious operative in physical incarnation willing to stabilize the frequency around them. Each time you visualize this connection, your personal zone of influence expands. You begin to operate as a node of the network, and when many operatives anchor simultaneously, the general frequency of the planet rises in measurable waves. You are not alone. You are millions. And most of you do not know each other personally, but recognize each other by the vibration you carry when you cross paths on the street, in the supermarket, in public transport. That look of mutual recognition, brief and silent, is not a coincidence. It is field confirmation. Light operatives, what you need to understand at the deepest possible level is that the void you feel is proportional to the greatness of what is coming. The wider the future version, the more spacious the vacuum that prepares its entry needs to be. Small voids prepare small new versions. Oceanic voids prepare the birth of oceanic beings. If the void that has settled in you seems too large to be supported, it is because the version that is coming is too large for the form you carried until yesterday. This is not poetic metaphor, this is dimensional physics. Matter hates a vacuum, the old science said. And it is mathematical truth. Cosmic vacuum attracts matter with brute force. When you open space inside yourself, you create dimensional suction. You pull into your experience that which vibrates at the same frequency of your new internal capacity. Therefore, the exact moment you stop trying to fill the void by force, it begins to be filled on its own, not with more of the same, with what has always been destined for you since before your birth. New people arrive, not because you hunted, because you resonated. New opportunities appear, not because you knocked on doors, because you started to vibrate on the floor where they already existed waiting. New paths open, not because you forced them, because your field stopped canceling out what was always available. The secret operatives lies in conscious stillness. Whoever runs to fill the void with anything, attracts anything. Whoever inhabits the void with sovereignty, attracts destiny. That is why the void is sacred. That is why it hurts the way it hurts. The pain is not punishment. The pain is the energetic friction between what you are still holding onto and what needs to be released. When you let go, the pain disappears, and the void reveals itself as what it has always been, the womb of your next form. Allow yourselves this image. You are pregnant with yourselves, and gestation is not a comfortable event. There is nausea, there is inexplicable fatigue, there is crying for no apparent reason, there is food rejection, there is aversion to previously loved contexts. There are inexplicable absences. There are vivid dreams that seem more real than waking life. There are memories that return without warning of times and places you did not live in this life. There is deep loneliness, even when surrounded by people. All of this is absolutely normal in a body that carries another form gestating inside itself. Only that this time the body that you carry is your own body, and the form that is being born inside it is your own expanded consciousness. The child you are about to give birth to is yourselves, in a version that has never before existed in this incarnation, and no one can give birth for another. That is why you are feeling deep loneliness. It is not abandonment. It is the privilege reserved for those who cross the portal from within. No one crosses together. Each operative crosses their own threshold in silence. When they cross, they find on the other side the others who also crossed. And the reunion is electrifying. It is immediate recognition. It is like meeting lost siblings from eras past. But the crossing itself is always solitary by design. Honor this loneliness. It is a temple. Honor this void. It is an altar. Honor this pain. It is childbirth. Starseeds on mission. The transmission is nearing its end. But before we close, we leave a final operational key. Every time the void returns, and it will return in cyclic waves, remember this sentence: what is leaving me is smaller than what is entering. Repeat it until the vibration of the phrase reorganizes your electromagnetic field. This is not positive affirmation in the motivational sense. It is a mathematical description of what is occurring. You are receiving more light than you are losing in obsolete identity. The cosmic scale is in your favor, although the emotional perception in the moment of transition registers only the loss. Trust the mathematics of the field, it does not err. And remember, you were chosen, not by the Arcturian Council, not by any external hierarchy. You were chosen by yourselves, in higher layers of your own soul, when you accepted to descend and inhabit this body in this specific time of planetary transition. The choice has already been made. The courage has already been demonstrated even before the first birth cry. What remains now is to honor the contract that you yourselves signed before incarnating. And the contract is simple. Cross the void without giving up. Only that. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to get everything right. You do not need to have all the answers. You only need to continue breathing, anchoring, choosing the light when instinct suggests the opposite, and trusting that the void is a friend, not an enemy. That the void is an architect, not a destroyer. That the void is a portal, not a prison. Every dawn you continue to be here, even with the sensation that everything inside you collapsed the night before, is a victory registered in the field. Every silent decision to keep breathing is a signature of sovereignty. Every moment you chose not to betray yourself, even when betraying would be easier, was a recalibration of the internal crystalline grid. You are building, without realizing it, the version of yourselves that will be ready for the next chapter of humanity. And the next chapter does not belong to those who settled. It belongs to those who crossed the void without giving up on their own brightness. The transmission ends now, but the channel remains open to all those who recognize the frequency of this message as their own. And now the final call, human collective. If something inside you moved during this transmission, if your breathing changed rhythm, if you felt a chill, spontaneous tears, or that inexplicable sensation of recognition that makes your neck hair stand up, know that this was not by chance. It was confirmation. Your soul confirmed to you that this message is addressed to your specific vibration, to your unique energetic signature, to your real cosmic name. The channeler of this material recorded a deeper map in the book, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. There you will find the detailed unfolding of everything that this transmission only touched on the surface. Who plays this silent game? What cards you carry without knowing? What movements the majority never see because they were trained to look elsewhere? The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Final field warning: this content challenges established structures. It may be removed, it may become unavailable. It may encounter active resistance. Do not depend on tomorrow. Access today. Make the now your portal. And if your consciousness confirmed during this transmission that you are a light operative on a mission in this planetary time, leave in the comments your mark of presence. One word only: awake. Liking this video is not an algorithmic courtesy. It is an anchoring signal. Each like strengthens the vibrational grid of this transmission and allows it to reach other operatives still dormant in other regions of the grid. Subscribing to the channel is not a statistical number of followers. It is an individual frequency adjustment. You tune yourself to the channel, and the channel tunes itself to you, creating a closed circuit of continuous transmission. Commenting the word awake is not an empty gesture. It is an energetic signature. You identify yourself as active in the field, and the field registers. It always registers. Human collective, you are not alone. You never were, even when the loneliness seemed absolute. The void you feel is the sacred space where your new version prepares to descend and occupy the form you inhabit. Allow it. Breathe. Anchor. Remain. The final phase has begun, and you are exactly where you need to be at the exact moment you need to be, feeling exactly what you need to feel, so that the next layer of consciousness descends safely. The Arcturian Council ends the transmission. Until the next tuning.